Title: 4 Villages Back in Congo Hands. What Kigali Won't Tell You. Asterisk, asterisk. Intro, asterisk, asterisk. On the scarred battlefields of the eastern Congo, the story has been one of relentless advance, a rebel tide swallowing town after town. But in a war defined by propaganda and half-truths, a different narrative is fighting to be heard. It's a story of Congolese resilience, of small but fierce counterattacks challenging the M23 war machine. Whispers are spreading about recaptured villages. So, what's the reality on the ground? Are these glimmers of a turning tide? Or just fleeting moments in a much larger, darker storm? The truth, as always, is far more complex than any headline. While the Congolese army and local defense forces are celebrating small victories, the M23, with heavy backing from Rwanda, continues a campaign of expansion that has brought the entire region to its knees. Today, we're not just looking at 4 villages. We're looking at the entire chessboard to uncover the real story of control, resistance, and resource plunder that Kigali doesn't want the world to see. Asterisk, asterisk, hook, asterisk, asterisk. Forget the simple story of advance and retreat you see in the news. The real action is happening in the shadows. While the world's attention is pulled elsewhere, the M23 isn't just fighting a war, it's methodically building a state within a state, financed by the very minerals that power our phones and laptops. They're appointing their own officials, controlling trade routes, and setting up a de facto government that chips away at Congolese sovereignty with each passing day. This is the story of a hidden occupation, and the so-called recapture of a few villages only masks a much more terrifying reality: the systematic takeover of eastern Congo. Asterisk, asterisk. Section 1. The illusion of victory, the reality of expansion. Asterisk, asterisk. In mid to late October 2025, reports of fierce clashes started coming in. The Congolese army, the FARDC, fighting alongside local self-defense militias known as the Wazalendo, launched a series of determined attacks. Pro-government sources quickly announced that territories like Bangu, Musheni, Wenda, and Mulende had been wrestled back from M23 control. This follows similar claims from earlier in the year, when the army announced it had retaken towns like Ngungu and Kabingo. These moments are hailed as huge victories, proof that the Congolese lion is finally fighting back. The army's use of new combat drones and jets has certainly added a new punch to the fight. FARDC drone strikes have hammered M23 positions, trying to cut off rebel supply lines and disrupt their bases, especially along strategic roads in Masisi and Walikale. The goal is to stop the M23 from pushing even deeper into the country. But this story of a successful counter-offensive runs headfirst into a grim strategic reality. While the FARDC and Wazalendo can and do hit the M23 hard, the bigger picture, since the rebels re-emerged in 2021, has been one of relentless expansion. Even as this script is being written, reports from the 31st of October 2025 confirm ongoing clashes where M23 is still fighting and even retaking ground from local forces. The rebels still control huge parts of North Kivu, including a chokehold on the provincial capital, Goma. They even captured the key city of Bukavu in a lightning offensive earlier this year. And while their control there remains contested and fluid, their presence has consolidated a massive zone of influence. This back and forth, where villages are contested, lost, and sometimes retaken, has been the rhythm of this war for months. While the FARDC celebrates retaking a handful of villages, the M23 is busy conducting search operations in Goma, cementing their grip on a major urban center. The truth is, these small-scale victories, while great for morale, haven't yet changed the fundamental balance of power. The M23 still occupies a massive and strategic part of the country. Asterisk, asterisk. Section 2. The Ghost of 1994. Understanding the M23. Asterisk, asterisk. So why is this conflict so stubborn and vicious? To get it, you have to rewind the clock. You can't make sense of the M23 without understanding its roots, which are buried in the ashes of the 1994 Rwandan genocide, after Hutu extremists murdered hundreds of thousands of Tutsis. Many of the killers fled across the border into eastern Congo. There, they formed armed groups, most notoriously the FDLR. In response, Rwanda, under its new Tutsi-led government headed by Paul Kagame, began backing its own proxy militias inside the DRC. Their stated reason was to hunt down the FDLR and protect Congolese Tutsi communities. This lit the fuse for decades of war. The M23, or March 23 movement, is just the latest and most powerful of these Rwandan-backed groups. The name comes from a failed peace deal signed on the 23rd of March 2009. In 2012, soldiers from a previous rebel group mutinied, claiming the government had broken its promises. This was the birth of the M23. They launched a blistering offensive, even capturing Goma for a short time before being defeated in 2013. For nearly a decade, the group went quiet. Then, in late 2021, they came roaring back with a campaign that has been far more successful and devastating than their first. Today, the M23 claims it's fighting for the rights of Congolese Tutsis against a government that works with the genocidal FDLR. But the Congolese government, the UN, and a chorus of international observers say that's a smokescreen. They accuse M23 of being a direct proxy for the Rwandan army, used by Kigali to project power and, most importantly, to plunder the immense mineral wealth of eastern Congo. Asterisk, asterisk. Section 3. What Kigali won't tell you, the shadow state. Asterisk, asterisk. This is the part of the story Rwanda works overtime to suppress. It goes way beyond just denying they send soldiers across the border. The truth, laid bare in United Nations expert reports, is that Kigali isn't just backing a rebellion. It's helping build a shadow state in eastern Congo, run by the M23, for the primary benefit of Rwanda. First, the military support. It's direct, sophisticated, and, according to investigators, undeniable. UN reports cite drone footage, photos, and intercepted radio calls that confirm the critical role of the Rwandan Defense Force, or RDF, in M23's war. We aren't just talking about guns. Rwanda has supplied M23 with advanced weapons like anti-aircraft systems and military drones, violating a UN arms embargo. These reports estimate that thousands of Rwandan soldiers have been actively fighting inside the DRC. Rwandan generals are reportedly in daily contact with M23 commanders, giving direct orders. This isn't a proxy war. It's a disguised invasion. M23's stunning capture of major cities wasn't the work of a simple militia. It was a military operation powered by the command and control of the Rwandan army. Second, and this is the core of what Kigali won't tell you, is the administrative takeover in the territories it controls, in Masisi, Rutshuru, and Nyiragongo. M23 is no longer just an occupying army. It's systematically installing its own government. They replace local chiefs with M23 loyalists, set up their own tax systems, and control the local economy. This is a calculated strategy to make their presence permanent. The M23's political wing even tries to project an image of good governance, trying to convince locals and the world they're better rulers than the government in Kinshasa. Which brings us to the ultimate motivation: resources. Eastern Congo sits on some of the world's most valuable mineral deposits: coltan, cobalt, and gold. Coltan is in your smartphone. Control the territory. You control the mines. UN investigators have detailed how M23 systematically loots these minerals, which are then smuggled into Rwanda, given fake paperwork, and sold on the global market as Rwandan. The capture of Rubaya, a key coltan town, was a strategic jackpot for the rebels. One UN report estimated they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month from taxes on that one mineral alone. This is the river of cash that funds the war. Asterisk, asterisk. Section 4. A catastrophe of people and the rise of the patriots. Asterisk. Asterisk. This strategic chess game is happening on top of an almost unimaginable human catastrophe. The conflict has ignited one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The fighting has displaced millions. Projections suggest that by early 2026, over 26 million Congolese will face severe food insecurity, with the crisis concentrated right here in the war-torn East. Villages are emptied overnight as families flee into the forests or into sprawling, overcrowded camps that lack clean water, food, and medicine. According to humanitarian reports, nearly 1,200 schools in the region have been destroyed or are now used as shelters, ripping 1.6 million children out of the classroom and leaving them vulnerable to recruitment by armed groups. UNICEF reports that the DRC has the second highest number of grave violations against children in the world. According to some reports from early 2025, children accounted for a horrifying number of the nearly 10,000 reported cases of sexual violence. This is the devastating human price of war. But out of this desperation, a new, unpredictable force has risen: the Wazalendo. These patriot militias are a loose coalition of local self-defense groups who have united with one goal: fighting the M23, who they see as a foreign invasion force. The Congolese government has officially backed and armed some of these groups, making them part of their counter-strategy. This has created a volatile dynamic. On one hand, the Wazalendo are a powerful, motivated grassroots resistance. They have hit the M23 hard and are a key part of the recent counter-offensives. On the other hand, relying on these often ethnically based militias is what Human Rights Watch calls a ticking time bomb. Rights groups have documented abuses by Wazalendo fighters, including extortion and ethnically motivated killings of civilians, especially Tutsis accused of backing M23. This just pours gasoline on the ethnic fires of the conflict and plays directly into Rwanda's and M23's narrative that they are there to protect people. The rise of the Wazalendo shows the deep Congolese will to resist, but it also risks spiraling into a wider ethnic conflict that could become impossible to contain. Asterisk, asterisk. CTA, asterisk. The situation in the Congo is complex and often deliberately twisted by those involved. If you believe in the importance of independent analysis that cuts through the propaganda to get to the facts, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us continue to bring these critical, underreported stories to light. Asterisk, asterisk. Conclusion. Asterisk, asterisk. So, the story of 4 villages back in Congo hands is, at best, a misleading snapshot. While the Congolese army and Wazalendo patriots are fighting back with real courage, they are pushing against a deeply entrenched and highly sophisticated occupation. The M23, with the full might of the Rwandan military behind it, isn't just a rebel group. It's the armed and administrative wing of a foreign project to control and exploit Eastern Congo. Meanwhile, diplomacy is going nowhere. Ceasefire deals signed everywhere from Doha to Washington have been broken before the ink was dry, with each side blaming the other. Peace talks are paralyzed. On the ground, both sides are digging in, reinforcing their positions, and getting ready for the next brutal round of fighting. This is no longer a story about a simple rebellion. It's about the potential shattering of the Congolese state in the east, squeezed between a foreign-backed shadow state on one side and an explosion of local militias born from desperation on the other. The real question isn't whether the army can retake another village tomorrow. It's whether, without massive international pressure on Kigali to end its intervention, there will be a sovereign Congo left to reclaim at all.